We welcome you back to America's Forum. I am pleased to be rejoined here on the desk by Miranda Kahn.
Thank you.
Yes, and we're also pleased to be rejoined via Skype with Amber Barno, who is here to talk about this. Amber, President Obama, some 19 promises he made yesterday or different executive actions he was going to take, a lot of them in the area of mental health. From this president, do we expect real results here now? Is that why you got the lack of that resulting in a tepid response before the American Legion yesterday?
Well, what we saw yesterday was a very strangely awkward and unenthusiastic, basically welcome from the American Legion, because we saw the reality of how American veterans perceive what Obama is telling them. He has lost the trust of America's veterans. And so he can give a speech and talk about how he's going to help veterans and all of the executive actions that he's going to take to help them. But not everybody's buying what he's saying anymore. He's had too many opportunities to make positive change for America's veterans, and he hasn't followed through with them. He continues to just talk. We want to see him walk the walk and actually show some leadership, hold the VA accountable, and be transparent. And we're not getting any of that.
So, Amber, what does he need to do then?
I would say he needs to work closely with Bob McDonald and tell him what he expects. That's what leadership is. He has these people working for him. How about he communicates with them and has him actually hold people accountable within the VA, use the positive things that came out of the VA reform bill, including accountability and freedom of choice to use those outside private facilities, along with that $16 billion price tag, and put it to good use.
Well, we see pictures here of the new VA Secretary Bob McDonald with congressional committee chairs, also with the president and the vice president. And Amber, you were very candid earlier, obviously, as you're part of Concerned Veterans for America. You stressed the concerns you had about the VA secretary coming in, about not being up to speed. What goes on in this situation? Do people get captured by the those who are so entrenched within the VA bureaucracy that they basically go native and become captives of that bureaucracy? What do you think's going on with Bob McDonald right now?
Well, we knew it was going to be a rough road for whoever was confirmed as the Secretary of Department of Veterans Affairs. There's a lot of work to be done. It's not an easy task for anyone who is going to take the job, but I was expecting him to show a little bit more leadership from the get-go, and unfortunately he's sort of acted just like Sloan Gibson did in terms of not talking about the realities of the employees that are not being held accountable within the VA. He won't address where the town halls are going to be that the VA is having in all different areas of the United States, and won't talk about how many VA employees are being fired. What I would like to see him address specifically is the Phoenix facility leader, Sharon Hellman, who has been on administrative paid leave since May 1st. She's still getting paid on the taxpayer's dime and has not been held accountable to this point. We all know the story of 40 veterans that died as a result of mismanagement, unethical practices, and even the IG report said
that's not true.
What?
You said 40 that died as a result. They have not. Yes. That is not conclusive, though.
Well, I mean, you want to know what the IG report that came out said? That I mean, I think it is an absolute disgrace that they are saying that, yes, there was unethical practices and mismanagement, but they can't tie it directly to the VA. They can say that all we want. The American people have common sense. They can read through the lines and know exactly what it was the result from.
As we take a look at what happens in Washington, and usually you think about inspectors general and their reports being straight shooting. Are you, well, satisfied's probably not the word, but with the new IG report, do you believe it's totally on the up and up? Is it a realistic picture of the situation as it is right now?
Well, I think that I think the IG report pointed out some serious issues, especially with the unethical practices and mismanagement, all which we were made aware of prior to. But just like what we saw with us when Secretary Shinseki testified in front of Congress, they can produce these IG reports all they want. They produce hundreds per year. If the leadership at the top are not paying attention to the results and the recommendations that come out of these IG reports, then what's the purpose? We have to make sure that there's progress that comes out from these IG reports and the results and moving forward. So I'm interested to see how the VA reacts to the IG report and some changes that they are made in conjunction with the executive order proposals that Obama laid out yesterday, and really I hope to see some positive progress made.
Well, Amber Barno, we too will be watching to see if there is positive progress, because goodness knows, given the attention and given the fact that quite literally an act of Congress was signed into law by President Obama, you would expect to see results very soon, if not already in place. Amber, as always, in your position with Concerned Veterans for America, we thank you very much for your time. We look forward to having you back with us.
Thanks, JD.
Amber Barno with her take. Suffice it to say, she is disappointed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are, but I think that, you know, a lot of people also say that they're moving swiftly. At least they're addressing the problem. Too little, too late, you know? Well,
we have to wonder if it's swiftly in terms of the way a bureaucracy moves
right.
in Washington. That's the catch. We will be back swiftly with more here on America's Forum following this timeout.